is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing.
Welcome to another episode of Tough Talk Tuesday. As always, I'm your host, Lucas Bakers. Alongside me, my longtime friend and colleague, Robert Alexander. How's it going, Rob?
Yo, man, what's up? I hear you talking to us from snowy, slushy, crappy Midwest right now, huh?
Oh, you know it. You know it. It's terrible out here, but it always could be worse. We could have a lot more snow on the ground than what we got. So I'll count my blessings, I guess. But we got a lot to talk about. A lot of weird stuff happened this weekend. First, let's talk. Jose Ramirez has signed with Golden Boy Promotions. Kind of an odd move, I think. Most people would say that would be odd. What's your take on that move from Top Rank over to Golden Boy? Golden Boy is kind of a smaller stable now. It doesn't have that strength it used to have back in the day.
You know exactly how I feel about Golden Boy Promotions.
Why do you think I came to you?
Don't do it. Please. For the love of God, don't do it.
I think it's too late. I think he already did that.
The issue here is that Jose Ramirez is a decent fighter. But now you're going to a promoter, which, let me backtrack and give my take on the Top Rank situation, okay? Maybe he wasn't satisfied. Hell, Top Rank was throwing him 2 to 3 fights a year over on ESPN, help get his name out there. So that's why it's even more frustrating for me to hear something like this, because at least Top Rank was giving you the activity. They were giving you the fights. Problem probably may not be the type of fights that he wanted, which is what it sounds like. So now he's trying to go a different direction and then go with Golden Boy Promotions. The issue here is that Ramirez is prone to lose a fight or two, especially if he takes it up a notch at the elite level. And Golden Boy right now is throwing people out. They're kicking people out that lose fights or don't do what they expect them to do. So I think it's going to be short-lived, Lucas. Hell, I think it's going to be short-lived. As soon as he doesn't live up to that hyping that they're going to try to put on him, then he's done.
I mean, I think there's got to be more to it that nobody has said yet, but like you said, Top Rank's helped him so much. I don't understand why the move from Golden Boy. I don't know what they can offer him, really, that Top Rank can't. Golden Boy Promotions, the only thing I can think of is they kind of work with everybody. You know, they're so small now that they kind of have their hands in PBC. They'll also work with Top Rank. They're arguably one of the ones that work best well with other promoters. So that may be the only edge I see with Jose Ramirez taking that on. But Oscar, I know you don't like him, but he has been able to grow a lot of fighters in his lifetime since the start of Golden Boy Promotions. So not as much as Bob Arum, but I think coming up he is going to be that guy. He was that guy. PBC is basically his, right? I mean, that got stolen from him, from Richard Schaefer. So maybe not a bad sign. Maybe this will be all right for Jose Ramirez.
Oscar allowed it to get stolen from him because Oscar wasn't properly managing or promoting the fighters himself.
Hey, look, there's a lot of owners though
popped up. As soon as the rehab and all that popped up, that's when he started losing faith and he started losing those fighters. And I'm saying that to say that I feel like that is his own damn fault.
I mean, it is his fault, but at the same time, you know, you can't be watching over everything. Sometimes an owner hires a manager, and that's what happened. He hired Richard Schaefer. He snaked his ass. Didn't have these guys sign contracts, moving over to PBC. That's what happened. But
I feel like this is the whole bad boy death row conversation, okay? You're with Bob Arum, and now you're with a promoter that's gonna be shaking and dancing in the video, okay, strutting and talking mess leading up to the fights, mingling all in your business, putting your business out in the streets. Don't go to Golden Boy, okay? Just don't do it.
I mean, they're still doing good with Ryan Garcia, even though it was kind of a debacle, But right now he's still doing well, right? Still making a lot of money. Still got his name out there. Recently just said he's going to be fighting Rolly Romero next, right? So it's not all bad over at Golden Boy.
Yeah, they'll get you the fights. After begging, pleading, and threatening them, they'll get you the fights. There's a reason why Canelo left people. Canelo is the biggest cash cow in the sport, and he completely left them, and it wasn't on good terms.
That's fair. All right. News at the heavyweight division. Rob, we got Ngannou taking on AJ. That's all set for Saudi. Good thing, bad thing. Let's weigh the pros and cons of this. You liking it? I mean, let's. We wanted AJ Wilder, right? Wilder dropped the bag, so this is what we get.
If AJ loses this fight, his new nickname is definitely gonna be Ass Juice from here on out.
That's not new. You've been saying that. That is not new.
No. The biggest issue I have in this fight is that Fury beat him, and he didn't even set up a full camp. He didn't train. It was obvious he didn't take the bout seriously, and Fury still beat him. Now, whether it's arguable, debatable, whatever people may say, it's a known fact that Fury didn't train as he was supposed to for that fight. So that the scary part about that is that Ngannou, though, proves that he can be feared. And AJ is a person full of fear. So that's what I actually am nervous about with this bout is that can AJ's nerves handle it?
Me and you both, man. Honestly, really worried about that because Ngannou does have some kind of boxing background. You've been able to see it. I mean, I'm not saying he's, world class, but at the same time, he hung him with a Fury that did not train properly at all for that fight. My worry is, and AJ's already kind of chinny, right? His chin is always kind of up in the air on how he's going to be able to take those punches. AJ's set to really fuck it up for boxing as a whole, right? I do not want to see an MMA fighter knock out or win against a highly touted heavyweight. And that very well may be what we see, unfortunately.
Because truth be told, all AJ should have to do is boxing. That's it. That's all he should have to do is boxing. and I mean, he should be able to get an early knockout just by boxing the guy. He should. But it's AJ. You never know what he's going to show. He's probably going to be unnerved going into the bout. Going to be scared of the power. And he's going to absolutely do something stupid in the fight. We know that.
I mean, Ngannou's a big dude, so it is a lot to handle, but at the same time, AJ's been boxing. He should have this, right? I mean, especially if he takes the camp seriously, this should be a win for AJ, but it worries the shit out of me, man. It really does.
Now, the other part behind this is that I'm a little upset that this is what we get.
Of course you are. I am too.
A little upset that this is what we get. I'd much rather see Wilder where he is at fight AJ than this. They're still marketable. People will still pay just as much to see it as this bout. Why send in Ngannou out there I mean, what are you gonna prove? Or what are you trying to prove, I should say? Ngannou should not even be fit to set in the ring with an AJ, especially one that we saw in AJ's last fight.
Yeah, I don't know. This is just a money grab, really, because it proves nothing for AJ if he does win. Really, the only person who gets a benefit or a plus side to this is Ngannou.
Yeah, absolutely. And everybody's saying, "Oh, well, they ranking him top 10 in the division and shit
That's a
after
joke.
one fight
That's
just
a joke.
because Fury didn't train for that.
Fuck no, they didn't.
Fury doesn't care about that dude."
Exactly right. And there was no training. There was no nothing. He just kind of showed up that day, and that's kind of how it went.
Showed up at the gym.
Right? Just showed up ready to fight. He was not a... I don't even think there was a camp for that fight. I honestly don't. But regardless, it sounds like Wilder... what was the undercard I heard? Wilder... Drawing a blank now, man.
I didn't read the
You didn't read that? Okay. Wilder was in talks for the co-main, but I have forgot who's facing. I'll look that up here in a second. Let's move on to this. Big Baby Miller arrested. This dude's just falling apart all over the place, right? I mean, he's gotten caught with peds multiple times. Just had a recent fight. He weighed, what was it, like 330 or something enormous?
Yeah.
And now he gets arrested after that. It sounds like his car was getting repoed.
How do
right?
you get arrested? This is like some Friday shit, right? How you get fired for stealing boxes on your day off, right? How do you get arrested for trying to steal your own damn car?
Yeah, it don't make no sense. I clearly why did he get repoed in the first place?
Man, I can see.
Didn't you just secure like a big payday?
Well, that's the thing, right, Lucas? The check got to be cash first, right? And he's been out of the sport for what, 2 years now? So I can so see him running down to while it's getting repossessed with the check in his hand. So I know I got it now. I got the money. Give me my car. Look, guys, this is stupid. It's embarrassing because you just had a fight in Saudi Arabia of all places. So we know you got to check. And like you said, Lucas, your life is just in shambles with it right now. But this particular incident though is kind of more like a boxer or a fighter, a prize fighter, you should say. It's kind of more like a prize fighter type story than other people that have issues right now. You know, this one I could see on the streets of Detroit happening to a prize fighter where he just got paid after a tough top fight, and he's running down the street chasing a repossessor, beating him up, trying to get his car back. It's one of those type of stories.
That it's embarrassing for everybody involved. That's pretty bad, but I don't know where he stands or how long he's arrested. You hear any of that yet?
I mean, because of the incident, to be honest with you, they're probably gonna be like, pay these fines, pay this, pay that, and it'll get probably brushed under the rug.
Unless dude press charges, I mean, for the assault and stuff.
Well, the assault is what he needs to worry about. Yes, yeah. The assault is what he has to worry about. But you watch them repo shows all the time. Them people act like they're used to getting assaulted.
I mean, I guess it comes with the line of work to a certain degree.
What's that repo show called? Repo, whatever. I want to see it on that, an episode on that.
I remember, but I can't remember the name of it. I did want to jump back real quick to the Ngannou AJ. Wilder versus Zhang. That's who's being lined up right now for the co-main. If you ask me, that's a dangerous fight again for Wilder.
Man,
they're setting him up to lose again.
Yeah, Wilder is insane. Is he crazy taking that fight. If anything, he should try to get his lick back and do a rematch with Parker.
Yeah,
Immediate rematch with Parker. That would have been what I would have said I'd do, but now he's trying to go up against Zhang. That's a step or two notches above Parker.
that's my thoughts exactly. I don't understand that move. If he does sign that contract, I'm not sure if that's a set deal yet, but I had heard it was in talks. That's a bad idea, if you ask me. I agree with you completely. You rematch Parker, you do anything other than Zhang right now. That's just asking for another loss. He's another big guy, another that's going to maybe able to take some of Wilder's power. I mean, you look at Parker, he was able to take Wilder's power, but then again, Wilder didn't land a whole lot. He didn't even throw a whole lot. Wilder's not Wilder, and unless he can get that killer instinct back, he should just stay outside the ring. Just stop.
I mean, Parker's, because of the loss of the killer instinct and him not engaging in the happy-go-lucky smirky shit, he should try to go after Parker again, because he ain't going to be smiling after Zhang.
No. And like you said, he's just too happy-go-lucky. He's like, I'm still happy. I'm still smiling. Like, but you shouldn't be, right? You just lost. You should be upset. You should be furious. It shouldn't be happy. You can't be happy after the loss. That just shows you don't have that drive anymore. So unless you can get that back, stay out of the ring. Let's see here. Keep this moving. Inoue Nery. I know it's below your weights that you like, Rob, but you a little excited for this one, aren't you?
Well, at least it's stiff competition. At least it's stiff competition. There are a few issues I have in that fight, but there's a couple more answers to it, and there's some backstory to it a lot. Colbert, to me, should get another shot at the Monster somewhere down the line here in America, okay? Because Colbert looked so off going over in Japan, and the time frame and the time differential, all of that. He just looked so bad over there. I kind of want to see what Colbert could do with him here in the States and it being a normal environment for him. That being said, this bout with Nery is also in Japan. The difference is Nery's already fought twice a top-notch fighter in Japan and won both times. The interesting backstory with that is because of those wins, he has been banned for fighting in Japan. So now, and these are valid reasons. He fought Yamamoto, which was a top beloved Japanese fighter from Japan. He fought him the first time. Afterwards, test positive for some type of a drug. So he got suspended for that. Came back in the rematch and then decided to weigh in at 121 over the 118-pound limit and beat his ass in that fight. So at that point, Japan was like, fight here no more.
Yeah, I can't blame him for that. Like, you got to stay away. But Inoue Nery, that is set for Japan, though, isn't it?
It is. So that's what I was getting at is now you have a fighter who's used to fighting there, who's actually won there, who's not afraid of that environment, and you have a much more competitive bout. Nery lost the one fight, came back and has won every fight since. He was in the runner-up last year for Fight of the Year, according to ESPN, which a lot of people mistakenly need to go back and watch because that was a great fight that he clearly won. So I think this is a legitimate test for the Monster. And also being the fact that Nery has weighed above the 118 limit before, he's probably going to be heavier than the Monster in that bout. And notice what I want to see. I want to see go up in weight. I want to see him fight a heavier fighter, somebody who ain't afraid of him.
Yeah, I mean this fight has everything we want. The only thing that sucks is unfortunately it will be in Japan, so it's gonna be like an early morning, right, for us.
And that's why I said anyone needs to stop that shit. But I guarantee you, he goes up to 130, 135. It will be here. All of the greats and that are in that division are here. The only reason why he's able to carry the torch in Japan right now is because of the weight class he's in, because he's so dominant. But Nery again can handle it. It's gonna probably be instance where y'all might wake up that morning and something had happened. Some fireworks had went off.
You think so? I mean, Nery's been knocked out before. I mean, when Brandon Figueroa, right? I mean, I know it's not the same fighter. Figueroa's got a lot bigger than
But
Inoue, but
but again, the thing with Inoue is that these guys, they call him monster for a reason. Mike Tyson sings his praises for a reason. These guys are scared of him when they step in the ring. Nery is not scared. Colbert, I don't think was scared. I think Colbert was just so far off his game because he was so far out of his element. He didn't feel right. I feel like he just didn't feel right in that fight. And it looked just like that. I mean, he gave props to Inoue. He said he's the best, the greatest he's ever fought, blase, blah. But Colbert didn't look right. He just didn't look right in that fight.
no, I agree with you there. He did not, but let's let's move on. Let's go to the meat and potatoes here. I think a lot of people probably want to hear this. Ortiz-Lawson. Let's first talk about the fight as a whole. Obviously, it got stopped early. A lot of those punches weren't being returned, but they were blocked. What's your take on the overall whatever was remaining of the fight, which was a very small portion, but
Well, I'm glad you said talking about the fight first, because first and foremost, I'm gonna give credit to Virgil Ortiz. Okay, he's been off 17 months, and it wasn't just a normal situation there. It was a possible career-ending disease, a possible career-ending situation he was facing, and more than that, it was life-threatening. Okay, guys, he had been out, and when I say out, I mean he almost went to the upper room.
the
And I'm
upper
not,
room.
yeah, and I'm serious, being dead serious. It was that serious of a situation. So I had to give props to Virgil Ortiz because the 17 months looked like he did it. It was very well needed. His body looked good. He did look fresh, and and um and he looked like he's ready to continue at the right weight now. That's what I really want to see this year in 2024 if I had a wish list. I want to see these fighters fight at their right weight classes, to see them fight the guys that they should be fighting. And that's what this looked like with Ortiz. Um, that's what I got
I'm
to say
glad
about that.
I'm glad you said that because my 2024 wish would be to end the corruption or at least call some of that corruption out in 2024 of boxing. Let's get it back to at least somewhat uncorrupt. I understand that's kind of boxing's history for the most part, but let's go to a new era, right? Let's kick out some of that old dirt. Let's try to start fresh. And a lot of corruption's being called out around the world right now, from Jeffrey Epstein to other politicians that are being dirty. And right now, at least just recently, we had this Tony Weeks stoppage that we're about to talk about, right? So according to, let me pull this up here, but after the fight, people were booing Tony Weeks, right? Like the ref that stopped it. He had his last main event, right? It was also a bad stoppage. I think everybody would agree with Barbosa and
Raleigh
Romero. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In no way was he hurt. Barbosa was just against the ropes. He took a combination, but he was firing back and Weeks stepped in and stopped it. This fight obviously did not last very long. Lawson absorbed some punches. Tony Weeks waved it off. And immediately afterwards, he had posted on his Facebook, Tony Weeks, that let me pull it there. I don't want to misquote him or anything.
That has since now vanished and been taken down.
The taken down part is really the problem I have here.
We have a copy of what he said because it was up there for a limited time, and us being boxing pugilists, we went in there and immediately touched on that and got it. But he has since taken this down, but he did post it.
Yeah, and you want to take a look at our direct Heavy Bag Boxing Facebook, because the posts are on there, not only from Golden Boy Promotions basically pushing back to say, hey, this is on the Nevada State Athletic Commission, basically not on us, so don't come here complaining to us. But the direct quote, okay, from Tony Weeks onto his Facebook page is what the public didn't know, that prior to that fight, they did a brain scan on him, speaking of Lawson, and it came up that he had an aneurysm. And they did a test again, and the same aneurysm came up. Another doctor was brought in and gave him the same examination, and he tested negative for the aneurysm. So they cleared him to fight. Just off that, Rob, how would you react?
So first of all, first and foremost, it's not the referee's job. Never, ever in history of the sport of boxing have I ever heard any referee reference a boxer's medical history in a fight. I've never heard that. I didn't even know they were privy to that information.
I don't know why they would be, to be completely honest.
I wouldn't know why they would be either.
That's a doctor situation. Ring doctor.
So that's really puzzling to me right there. That's got to be answered. Tony Weeks right there first and foremost is number one, how are you privy to that information? Number two, you still stepped in to call the fight. So
that's my problem with it. So you're okay, right? You were told direct information that he had an aneurysm, and you were still going to go on and fight that fight, or let them fight that fight. Yeah,
and call it. So you were getting paid to do that. You're getting paid to call that fight. So you're not missing your paycheck. Number two, that issue. And number three, number three is, and I'm sure you're going to touch on it more because this is your main factoid in it. But number three issue is the fact that you posted this with no proof or receipts and you took it down.
Yeah, the taking it down, it didn't matter because so many people had caught it, right? I mean, it got picked up by other news outlets, obviously not just us. But it got picked up, and the question is why take it down? Are you being pressured to take it down? And if you are, there's still a big problem with that, right? Because not only did you go along with the fight, now you're being silenced on top of it. Like, you're already a Hall of Fame career is now being tarnished. You need to stand up right now, okay? It's too late. It's too late. If this actually happened, you need to stand up. And if you lie, you need to stand up. I'm not sure which. I'm not going to speak on which because I mean, we don't know. We don't know. There's two options here, right? Is he's telling the truth, which is scary. That leads to corruption by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. I think we already suspect a lot of corruption from the Nevada State Athletic Commission. I mean, come on. We've thought that for centuries, so nothing wrong there. The other part would be basically just this is his second main event now that people have had a problem with. He got booed off. He got embarrassed. He posted this indirectly to kind of calm it down. And then he was like, oh, shit, what am I doing? And took it back down.
And you know what? Like you said, he had the Hall of Fame career. The man has
a great referee.
The man has his own gym, I believe, where he not only teaches boxing but also martial arts. I think he is a martial artist. He's been on the show. Great interview. Great, very humble man, very positive and very honest. For the most part, very honest. But when it comes down to is at some point in your career, you have to take the good and the bad and all that you've seen and realize when it's time to step away. And if that's what's going on here, because Tony Weeks has been in situations. I think he was in a situation, actually, Lucas, a couple of years ago where a fighter had brain damage and died after a fight. And that can affect you. But be honest with yourself and say that that's actually what's affecting my decisions here in the ring, and I probably should just go ahead and step away. There's more honor in you admitting that and agreeing to that and retiring. I believe the man's very intelligent. He can go on to do other things without keep taking these paychecks to be a referee in the ring if that's not what you want to see anymore.
So do you think his judgment has just been compromised? Is that basically what you're saying? It's just too much for him. He's seen people get hurt too much, and he's overreacting now.
That is my opinion. And what he should be doing to actually serve the boxing community in that is he should be advocating and getting on these commissions to try to make himself, because again, we talk about this all the time. They put it on the referee's hands, but a referee isn't a physician. They don't know. They usually don't know medical history. They usually don't know what's going on with a fighter before they step into the ropes. So he's should be more trying to advocate for health in the sport, or to make it healthier, to make it smarter, to make it more to make it safer in the ring. And he can do that with himself and with his life going forward, instead of, like you said, Lucas, tarnishing his name by doing this. And if it is true, then Lucas, you're right. Stand on it. Okay? Stand on it.
That's what I want him to do now. If I could speak directly to Tony Weeks, I asked him to come back on the show again tonight. He did not take me up on that. He actually did not respond. I'm sure it's because of everything going on, and I can't completely blame him for that. Right now, getting put into a hot seat in an interview is probably not a good idea for him. But if I could talk to you directly, Mr. Tony Weeks, I would say, please call this corruption now. This is something that is wrong with boxing. It has been wrong with boxing. Boxing is getting removed from the Olympics because of corruption. We have to change at some point. We need this kind of insider information, or nothing will ever change. Stop being complacent. Stop being compliant with what they're wanting you to do. Do not be pawed off. Do not be scared. Stand on it, Mr. Tony Weeks, please. Golden Boy Promotions shortly after released a promotion that said Beterbiev was cleared by Nevada State Athletic Commission sanctioned doctor to fight on Saturday. All other questions should be referred to the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Basically, that's Golden Boy saying that ain't on me.
And that's not the promoter's job. So I understand that. As a promoter, you're looking out for your best interest.
Oh, well, hang on now. Now, you did say you're not a big fan of Golden Boy, and this is a problem. Who pays the Nevada State Athletic Commission, Mr. Alexander?
Okay.
Golden Boy Promotions paid.
Trying not to go that route.
No. We're opening the door. I'm kicking this bitch in, okay? A lot of people don't understand how boxing works and how the money flows, okay? Referees need paid. Tony Weeks, right? The Nevada State Athletic Commission and all the judges need paid. Who pays those? The promoter throwing the event. So that money, should it have been funneled through, would have been from Golden Boy Promotions. Should it be corrupt? Should it be bought into the fact that, oh, pay this doctor this amount of money. Let's just get him clear, get him through, right? That's what needs to be under scrutiny. So, no, I'm sorry, Golden Boy, but not all questions should be directed right now to the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Yeah. You know, right? Golden Boy knows the doctors. I'm sure they have the list, right? You have to get these things. You have to get medical clearances. You have to test the blood, make sure that they're clean. You have to get all of these assurances, right? Before you're allowed to go on with that card. So give me these names of these doctors, Mr. Golden Boy Promotions. It ain't all on Nevada State Athletic Commission. On both your asses.
Well, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But in the plain devil's advocate, Lucas, if you come at me as a promoter about these things, I'm going to say, well, I paid the commission. I expect them to do what I paid them to do.
Which is lie.
You think I'm gonna tell you, admit to that though? No. I'm gonna lie and say they obviously aren't doing their jobs if that's the case. But yeah, this is another good reason why I'm telling y'all not to go to Golden Boy, okay? Because you're absolutely right, Lucas. That's your fight. Therefore, whether you promote the both fighters or not, they're your responsibility. They're your fighters now because it's your event, it's your fight card. You know what your guy is capable of. You know what your fighter can do in that ring. Hell, let's be honest. Virgil Ortiz is 19-0, now 20-0 with 20 KOs. The man has 100% knockout ratio. And you're going to send a kid in there or a guy in there with a brain possible aneurysm going on into a fight against the guy that has a 100% KO ratio? That alone right there tells me you don't give a damn about the sport or those fighters.
That's exactly right. And like we were just saying, right, as far as we know of Tony Weeks, everything that we know of Tony Weeks, he seems to be a stand-up guy. So I have no reason to not believe what he said.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
And you're right. But he needs to stand on it, Lucas. If he stands on that, then he's the only one right in this situation because of the facts. You have 100% KO ratio in Ortiz, Virgil Ortiz. You have a guy with a possible aneurysm. A knockout is going to happen. And Weeks minimized it by the first sign of trouble, getting his ass out of there.
Right. And by it can be seen as he saved him, right? You can see it that way.
Absolutely.
But to be honest, Tony Weeks should have stood on it before the fight happened, right? He should have said, no, this ain't happening. That's my problem with it. To allow it to go on is basically just compliance of the corruption. Maybe you ain't doing it yourself. You understand? But to me, it's still, you're just turning that blind eye. And that makes you just as responsible.
I mean, yeah, but me being a person, and again, not to play devil's advocate, just playing human here. But me as a human, if I'm going to go into a job and you say it's a possibility that this all could fuck up and break and not even work out. And not even work out. So I'm telling you this right now so you don't go, but you won't get paid. I'm going to get paid and take the risk of fucking it all up anyway.
So are you saying would you have done what Tony did?
Man,
again, has alluded to doing, basically.
It depends, Lucas. It depends. Me personally, sitting here right now, I've never refereed a fight before. Say I went and got my license, did all I'm supposed to do, and say this is like my first few fights.
Look, you're thinking way too deeply into it. Are you putting someone directly at risk of dying for your job? If my job comes to me as like, hey, you got to take this guy with you, but he's a ticking time bomb. He could have a brain aneurysm and die any second. I'm not taking this motherfucker. I'm taking him to the goddamn hospital. I'm not taking him with me. No, man, look, I don't care. There is not an amount of money. I know everybody has a price, but I can't live with that shit on my conscience. I don't know about anybody else. I cannot have death on my conscience. He needs to speak out. And if there is not a fucking investigation, I'm going to mount one my motherfucking self. Mark my words, Rob. Okay, I'm nearing the end anyway. I think this is the hill that Lucas Biggers is going to fucking die on. Okay, someone is going to get to the bottom of this. I don't know who it is, but if it ain't them, it's going to be me.
Pretty sure there's somebody in law. I would listen to me now, trying to be an investigative journalist. Hey, start with Lawson's camp. Okay, you wanna reach out to them first. Clearly. Is what you should do. So I would start there and see what you can find. Maybe even have them, in the next couple of weeks come on the show, see what we can dig up, see what they want to say. Love to hear their take.
It would be interesting. Hopefully we can get somebody on from them. Now, the other thing, Rob, is if we're thinking about this situation, right? If we're gonna believe Tony Weeks, which I do, like we said, he's been a stand-up ref for how long? We have to believe him, so we need reason, right? So why would they not just cancel said fight and move forward? Can you think of one?
I mean, there's tons of reasons why.
There's one blatant, big, main one, though. Are you catching it yet? Because we've already talked kind of about it, right? Virgil Ortiz's absence, right? Yeah. So if you have it to where you didn't even fight in 2023, his last, 2 or 3 fights were canceled because of his illness. They need to get him a fight. They need to have him be active. Even if
not only that, it has to be somebody too that's not gonna. And I said it going into the fight. I said this dude. What I actually said was Lawson is if I'm in here to get my ass whooped was a person.
Yeah,
that's what he was. He looked the kid looked like he lost the fight before he even stepped in the ring.
Which may also be because of those doctors. Shit.
So, yeah, it was a setup to put Virgil on the card. It's the first fight card of the year, so there's no other fights out there this year yet, period. So, fight fans are going to watch. And you don't want to see him be in a position to fight anybody out there that he couldn't beat.
No, it all leads to Tony Weeks being accurate with everything that's going on, right? So we got to get names of doctors. We got to see these scans that happen, right? You can't have 2 aneurysms and all of a sudden you show up clear. That can't happen.
And I mean, contrary to what I said earlier, yes, reps aren't generally privy to that type of information, but Weeks is already a Hall of Famer. So he very well may be in the know, and he's very knowledgeable in the sport outside of his duties. So he may very well be in the know somehow, some way.
I mean, yeah, we don't know everything that Tony Weeks is in the know of, so we can't say for sure that he wasn't in the know of any of this. All I can say is it seems above his pay grade. It seems like something that should be handled by ring doctors myself, but again, we don't know. This though is just I really, really hope that he would just put that back on there and stand by his word. Why put it up there and take it down? The only thing I can think of is he was threatened or possibly due to some other medical information that, was leaked that he really didn't have access to release or permission to release. But even then, you got to come back. You got to say something. You can't drop that bombshell and then try to pick those pieces back up and be like, never mind. I didn't say nothing. I'm good. This is a big story, one that could shape the future of boxing, to be honest with you.
Well, it's your perspective that it would, because like you said, this would be your final straw. I don't doubt that this type of thing happens.
And the fact, though, that it doesn't bother you. It doesn't bother you. Look, we ain't talking about somebody that just didn't pass a test, motherfucker. We're talking about somebody that was sent in to die. We have people dying in the sport that are perfectly fine before entering, let alone a brain aneurysm coming into the motherfucking ring. He was basically go die. That's what just happened, dude. This is bigger than what you're making it out to be, Rob.
No, it's not, because you have to put it also on Lawson at the end of the day. In this sport, you can die. You sign up for it. You know that. You can die, right? But you're not supposed to get sent out there to die. You have Tony Weeks who's supposed to protect you. Willing to do it then?
You have doctors supposed to protect you.
Why would you yourself be willing to do it, though?
You know why.
Think right.
Why. Why? You tell me why.
The buck has to stop somewhere.
The buck's supposed to stop at the Nevada State Athletic Commission. That's what you're not understanding, is they're supposed to protect him. Tony Weeks, the judges, the ref, everybody there is supposed to be protecting him. The doctors, the ringside physicians, everyone there is supposed to be protecting him. The only one that appeared to do so is Tony motherfucking Weeks. Everybody else is throwing this motherfucker in there to die.
Well, there's one corporate in this thing, and that's money. Okay, because the commission would have bypassed it due to money, just as Lawson
is willing to die for money.
Is willing to die for the money. So that's really the corporate.
Yeah, I understand his position. He probably doesn't have another way of making that kind of money. I mean, not a lot of people do. That's a big paycheck, right? I mean, I'm going in with a brain aneurysm. If I got bills to pay and they're backing up, I mean, maybe that's a risk I'm willing to take.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but that is the case. And the Nevada State Athletic Commission has to be the one that says, we're not going to allow you to die in front of, a stadium full of people. They have to be the one to protect him. That's why these medical clearances are things that he has to pass before allowing him to fight. The fact that you are doing it only to get the result that you want is not helping anybody.
I don't understand that either. I don't understand that. People do go for second opinions, so I understand maybe a second opinion, but why press the issue with the third? That's weird. That just reeks corruption.
Definitely does. I have a feeling we're not gonna really hear much about this after this. I'm gonna do my best, but Nevada State Athletic Commission's a little weird. They don't really respond to emails from media very much.
They're not about to respond to this one. My suggestion: you start with Lawson. You start with him and his camp. You see what you can expose from them, and if they're loose, if they're locked lip, you got to keep pressing Weeks because he's the one that said it.
What Lawson doesn't understand is he can probably turn around and sue the Nevada State Athletic Commission. I mean, they're putting him directly at risk, even if he's willing to do it. That is not.
That may come out. That very well may happen.
Well, I'm definitely going to reach out to him. I don't have high hopes of hearing much back, but something's got to be done. This points to corruption, and unfortunately, by taking that down, Tony Weeks is seeming complacent with it. I really hope that he takes a stand on this like he was going to, and makes everything right. This is a big black eye for boxing that just continues to go downhill. So hopefully we can get back maybe knock a little bit of dust off of the sport and make it a little cleaner. All right. Let's move on here. This weekend we got Beterbiev. What the hell? I must have erased some number on that. We got Beterbiev versus Callum Smith. Rob, I'm gonna speak for you. I got Beterbiev by knockout. I assume you're gonna say the same thing.
Well, I mean, Callum Smith is not a joke either. Callum Smith, especially at this point in his career, he has reached the threshold where he feels like he's in a do or die situation every time he goes out there. The one thing about Beterbiev is in his last fight, what was it, Joyce? It was Joe Joyce, wasn't it?
For Beterbiev?
Yeah.
I didn't think it was isn't Joe Joyce heavyweight? Let me see here. Beterbiev's last fight was against Yarde.
Yarde, I knew it. Damn it. Thank you. Against Yarde, he was vulnerable. And we saw some vulnerabilities in that fight. And that's one thing I'm leaning towards. With Beterbiev, he needs to, in my opinion, he needs to be a little bit more active than what he has been in the ring, because that cost him rust and vulnerabilities that are going to show that normally probably aren't there, because he's a very, very good fighter. So that's my only concern with him, and Callum Smith will be able to exploit more. Because he's been in the game a little bit longer than Yarde. So whatever you have vulnerabilities in there, Callum's going to exploit a little bit. And again, he has this do or die mentality now. It's a different Callum Smith in that ring. He's taking chances that we were asking him to do against Canelo.
Yeah, the Canelo fight was a little weird. He fought that one maybe a little scared. But that range that Callum Smith has, that could definitely be a problem for Beterbiev if he can use his height. But he doesn't really fight that way. That's part of Smith's problem. He doesn't fight tall. If he did, I mean, he's got an extra 5 inches reach on top of Beterbiev, and he really needs to keep Beterbiev at range. I just doubt that he can do that. Do you think Beterbiev's going to have any problem getting inside?
No, not the way Callum fights. Unfortunately, not the way Callum fights. No, but the thing that Callum needs to bank on is when he does get inside, he needs to take a step or two back and unload a shot like a hook with those long, rangy arms. So yeah, Callum's gonna be able to let him get in. He's gonna try and fight fire with fire. But I think if he can load up on those shots when he does let him in by taking a step or two back and using his range to load some shots at him, he'll have success.
I agree partially. I think taking that step back is great. I just don't know if he wants to load up. I would say take that step back, pop shot, and move. Get the fuck out of there. I think if he tries to throw some power punches, it's going to lead into getting countered and down goes Smith. But we'll see. Regardless, it'll be an entertaining fight. I think. Let's take a look here.
I think it will be as long as it lasts. I also have Beterbiev by KO. I'm gonna give Callum a stretch though there, and I'm gonna say it goes 9-10 rounds.
Well, the betting odds are actually a little bit closer than what you might think. What would you guess that they are, Rob?
It's probably something like, what's the negative? The negative is good, right? The negative is the favorite. The positive.
Negative is the underdog. Positive is the favorite.
So for Callum, I give him negative 250.
Okay. Let's here it goes. Beterbiev plus 33 favorite, while Smith is minus 450 underdog. So it's closer already than what I thought it was going to be for Vegas odds. But I think we're both agreement here. I think most of Heavy Bag would agree. I think we'd all probably pick, and I'm going to speak for Sakura even though she's not here. I would think she's going to pick Beterbiev as well for KO. All right, that pretty much clears it up. We're about that hour mark. Rob, did you have any rapid fire you wanted to talk about?
No, because it's just us, so there's really no rapid fire tonight. I do want to talk about Spence.
Oh yeah,
Errol Spence Jr. already has had cataract surgery to repair cataracts in his eye. The problem that I have with this is that he was quoted by saying, "There's a reason why I got my ass beat. You saw how bad I got my ass whooped. There was shit all in my eye." And then he even goes on to say, "I hadn't been living a fighter's lifestyle." That's a problem for me, Lucas.
There's a lot of people not living that way. I know you've seen the in our group there that Haney ain't necessarily living the boxing lifestyle. None of boxers don't live that way. But it shows in the ring, right? Eventually, is going to show in the ring. You got to live that lifestyle. It's proved time and time again that you have to. Do you really think though that it would have went differently should Spence have came in 100%, maybe not even his eyes messed up? It seemed to me just like a style clash that severely benefited Bud.
Yeah, but I can't say that because the eye is nothing to mess with. And if he can't really see in there, and when he sees the punches clearly, it definitely could have been a different fight.
Definitely could have been, but the problem is Spence has fought before. It's not like it's a brand new injury right after that. It's something that's been going on. You know what I mean? He's fought and he's knocked out fighters since that car accident. It's not something that he can just say, well, I can't see now. Like, no, man, you done fought Ugas, you done fought Danny Garcia after that, right?
That's
I mean,
just
Danny
to tell her
Garcia
how
was
good
like
he is.
Danny Garcia was like right after that. And then you fought Ugas and knocked Ugas out. So I can't sit here and say like, well, you couldn't see. I mean, maybe you couldn't see 100%, but you were at least good enough there to knock out Ugas. The problem now also, Rob, is that going to push us back that much further? If you just had cataract surgery, how long before you're cleared to fight?
8
I mean,
weeks.
you're holding up Bud and you're holding up yourself.
8 weeks is the turnaround time for that surgery. It actually isn't as bad as like a retina surgery as you would think, because it's just removing cataracts, which basically is, like he said, shit in your eye. It's basically just problems with stuff in your eye, making stuff less visible. So it's definitely going to help him. He's already undergone the surgery, so he's already on his way to recovery. Look, Lucas, these guys are content with fighting once a year now. So I don't think it's going to affect anything from him fighting this year's perspective. It shouldn't. But, I'm just more bothered with the fact that, like you said, these guys right now aren't living a boxer's lifestyle, and it always has come back to haunt them.
Well,
There's a reason why Tank is as big and powerful as he is right now, because he realized that early on in his career that he needed to be more disciplined. And yes, there are still issues with him as well, and issues with his camp. He's definitely trying to calm himself and get better at it. Hence the move to Muslim. Hence the change to that. Ali changed his lifestyle completely around when he did it. So this actually could be a positive thing for Tank. I just want fighters at the level that Spence is, Haney as well, because you're right, Haney's making mistakes now too. He's been in the news also for getting in possible trouble. These guys need to start learning, get out the club, and get yourself together.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Now the fighting once a year, though, as you said, I don't agree with that. Like that's, if anything, Bud should know that, right? I mean,
Well,
you lost out on Fighter of the Year potentially
that's
because you
proof.
only fought once.
That's proof. And to be honest with you, I think that's another superpower that we can put over in the corner of Bud Crawford, because he's definitely, the way he lives his lifestyle. When he's not fighting, he's just around family and he's calm. He's not doing nothing disruptive. He's probably still going to the gym on a regular basis, still working out on a regular basis. So he's not distracted in that point where I feel like he is the one true fighter, and he's proved it, that can fight so stagnant and be just as great coming into a fight as he was when he left the last time. Spence and these guys can't do it. The Charlos, they got to stop doing it. Hell, a month or two ago, we was looking at what the problem is with Derrick James. I think we see it now. What the problem is, you don't have discipline in your gym. Robert Garcia had that problem, and his fighters took a turn for the worse after that.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to learn that lesson. These trainers out here, guys, you got to keep your fighters in check. You need to keep them in that lifestyle. Kevin, what's his name from St. Louis? Kevin, no,
Cunningham, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin
Yeah.
Cunningham has always preached discipline to his fighters. And the way that these guys are made up now, he just can't control them. And there's the reason why he's not in the fight game as much anymore as he wants to be, because he knows you have to have that type of level of control. So that's another thing we're losing in the sport right now.
Definitely agree with you there. A lot of these guys just get themselves into trouble without that. I mean, you just look at Big Baby Miller, look at all these other problems that we had.
Charlo, Big Baby Miller,
It's everywhere.
Coach Calvin now.
Kirkland's career was riddled with problems. Lost a lot of his prime fighting years, in prison. So, but no, I would, regardless, even though Crawford was able to do it, I would still issue a warning saying, dude, you're not going to win Fighter of the Year awards. You're not going to, really surprise or really do much and adding to your career if you're only fighting once a year. Twice a year, I think, is already too little. But once a year, you might as well just not even fight. You might as well start doing what Pacquiao and Floyd are doing and just do exhibition fights. Just fight Mike Tyson or something for a lot of money on a pay-per-view. I don't know.
Well, you already know what the issue is. It's, again, money. We need to go back to these days where you actually have to earn it in the ring. I mean, really earn it. And we need to stop giving these guys 30 mil a fight just to be in the ring because of who they are. We need to take several steps back. These guys should be only fighting for $1 mil max. $1 mil to $2 mil max. Drop the $30 million guarantees. Hell, drop the guarantees all the way if you have to. We need to get back to this being an actual humble sport.
Yeah, and getting back to the poor man sport. We need it back on free TV. That would be great.
Well, oh, yeah, for that, yeah.
But, all right, I think that's going to end the show for my co-host here, Robert Alexander. I'm Lucas Biggers, and again, this was Tough Talk Tuesday. Don't forget to check us out every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. As always, we don't pull any punches. We'll see you next week.